You're listening to the Pesky Report, a podcast dedicated to the Boston Red Sox by Red Sox fans. The Pesky Report is happy to announce that we will be sponsored by High and Happy Catering out of Springfield, Massachusetts. High and Happy Catering creates gourmet meals for small or large events with a twist. All of their meals are cannabis infused. If you are looking to have a real happy meal, call them at 413-785-8999 or search for them on Instagram at High and Happy Catering. You'll be happy you did. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Pesky Report. My name is Brad Chandler. This is episode 96. We have a very, very special guest with us today. We have Jen McCaffrey from The Athletic. How are we doing tonight?
Pretty good, guys. How about you?
Living the dream. Also with me, I have my co-host, as usual, Hogdale and Brady. How are we doing this evening, gentlemen?
Why'd you have to say like live in the dream? That's like what my mom says to like the grocery clerk, like to say I'm dead inside. And like,
so
nice
I'm unemployed right now, so I am pretty much dead inside.
Off to a great start.
To a blazing start.
Perfect. So how you guys doing?
Just great.
Living the dream.
Shut up. Oh my
Doing
god.
well.
Good for you. Good for you. All right, Jen, let's just get right into it. So I've admitted throughout the time that we've been doing this podcast that I didn't grow up as a Red Sox fan. I actually was a part of the a Yankee fandom. I found the way. I found the light. So my first question for you is, did you grow up a Sox fan?
Yeah. I grew up about an hour south of Boston. So yeah, kind of my initial introduction into baseball was watching games with my dad and grandpa growing up. So yeah, was a pretty big fan growing up, just following along, and also just like reading the Globe, watching Nesson, and that's sort of how I kind of wanted to get into the business. And then yeah, once you kind of hit your internship phase and early job phase and start getting into the industry, the fandom quickly goes away once you have deadlines to meet and you meet people that maybe aren't the childhood heroes that you thought that you said they were, and maybe run into some issues along the way. But yeah, no, I still obviously love the game. But yeah, grew up when I was a kid. I loved watching the game, loved those teams growing up, and yeah, have a fond memory of all that.
So trying to be, I know you can't really be biased or whatever, but who was your favorite player?
So honestly, like growing, I was like a big like history nerd. And so I wanted to like learn as much as possible about like the early days of the team and just like, players that I hadn't watched in person. And so I think it was like in high school, I read Yaz's autobiography and I like became like obsessed with Yaz. And wore like number 8 and everything, like memorized his stats from like every year he played. So never saw him play. Like obviously he retired before I was born. But my dad and grandpa were actually at the game the day he retired, and they have like a poster from that they like handed out that day or whatever in '83. And so I have that as like a little memorabilia thing in a little nook in my apartment. But I guess a player that like I watched, I don't know. I guess, yeah, like growing, I played outfield when I played softball. So I was like a big Troy O'Leary fan. I was
yeah.
He plays what I play. He was center field. I kind of roamed around a lot actually, but yeah. maybe I'll go with him.
Okay, fair enough. The player that changed me from being a Yankee fan to a Red Sox fan. I think these guys actually found out last night. Mike Greenwell. I watched him. There was I don't know what year it was. I don't know what day it was. I don't know what team they were playing. But he hit a home run over the Green Monster and it went completely out of the park. And I was just like, that guy is strong, you know? So as a kid, I'm like, that's my guy. And then later on came to find out he didn't have he had what did you say the other day, Brady?
It was
He
Mike
had-
Mike Greenwell power. Yes.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Almost gone. Yeah, Mike Greenwell gave you glimpses of what he
the
could
track.
be. Yeah, yeah. But didn't always be able to put it through. But a good. I think it was really tight with Nomar guy too. During that time. Hey, Jen, I had a couple questions for you real quick. Is as a longtime Sox fan and now writer, if you were to rank the 4 championships in terms of whether fan perspective or just like importance or however you want to do it, if you were to rank them, how would you do it?
That's a good question. Let's see. I think most fans obviously put 04 at the top. I think 13 meant to a lot to people around here. And I know 07 gets kind of swept under the rug. A lot of people in the front office, that was like the year that everything came together for them. 04 was sort of a fluke, and they always kind of view 07 as the as the year that everything kind of culminated in the way that they thought it was going to. And then of course it took a little while, 6 years to come back to championship caliber form again. But I don't know, I guess 18 was so dominant. So, I mean, I don't know if I feel like people around here maybe 07 though, because, people around here probably would say like, there actually, it wasn't just 04 wasn't a fluke, and maybe the franchise is kind of turning itself around. And 18, I think, was obviously a dominant year for them, but I feel like the passion of baseball sort of has been lost a little bit in this neck of the woods, especially compared to those early ones. So there were definitely, obviously, a passionate group of fans that were in love with that season and happy to see that season happen, but and all the history that they made. But I also feel like it definitely wasn't anywhere near, what it was in the earlier part of the decade or previous decade.
Yeah, no, I think you make up a good point, which was so impressive because this postseason, it seemed like Fenway was rocking, like days of old. I thought it was kind of cool to see, the fan base. I don't know, maybe it was so little lack of being in person for 2020 and finally something to cheer about. But would you agree that the postseason, it was a different vibe?
Yeah, I mean, it was as loud as I've heard it at Fenway. Even I'd say like 2013. Like I feel like we haven't heard it. Even in 18, it was loud, obviously, but yeah, that game against the wild card game against the Yankees was like unbelievable how loud it was. And it wasn't just because they hadn't had fans the previous year. There'd been fans obviously in the stands throughout the summer this past year, but I think it was just kind of the fans in the stands throughout this past summer. I feel like were people that were just trying to get out and do things and finally feeling like they could.
Yep.
And maybe not necessarily paying super close attention to the game. But I think once the Red Sox got into the playoffs and there was something on the line, the Yankees were there, and there was so much kind of tension at the end of the season if they were even going to get in. I think you really saw the kind of the passionate fans, the ones that have stuck through a lot of the highs and lows, come out that game, and maybe that's what it was. But yeah, it was really loud, and I started covering the team really in like 2013, 14 on a regular basis, and I feel like it's as loud as I've heard it.
Great.
Hogdale, it looked like you were about to ask a question.
No, I was going to add to her point. It's like 18 was kind of weird, and like that the team was just so dominant. It's like they didn't really face any adversity, so it was kind of like the fan base like kind of accepted like, yeah, they're going to win. Like, there's nothing really to fear here. They're just going to steamroll everyone. And like, I just feel like, especially in Boston, like that market, like the adversity is what really makes like the real passionate fans like give their 150%. Because like obviously this team this year that made the playoffs, like they weren't really expected to do anything, and like they overachieved, and like this market loves overachievers, and like that's what gets them to come out and just give it their all.
Jen, when you brought up 04, I'm just curious. Someone I respect your opinion. If you top 5 most influential to the championship run in 04, who, you know, because there's so many. I mean, when you really look at it, I just watched the 30 for 30 again for like the 50th time the other day, and I can't remember quite who it was. Someone commented that like Mark Bellhorn had some big moments, and he was like the 17th most important player. But top 5, who'd you put first? Who'd you put second?
Yeah, I mean, like Schilling comes to mind. Obviously, I know he's not a popular guy nowadays, but they wouldn't be here without him.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Pedro. Honestly, like, you know, you think about the trade, you know, the Nomar trade at the deadline, and people, I feel like, I don't know if he'd be in a top 5, but Orlando Cabrera and what he kind of did in that second half to kind of boost them and kind of stabilize things a little bit. I feel like we always end up sort of forgetting about him, or he's, you know, someone on the sidelines that never's spoken as much about because he wasn't one of the big names. Obviously Ortiz. I mean, maybe he'd be number 1, and then Schilling, and then Pedro. Gosh, yeah. I mean, there are so many of those. I'm like trying to run through the roster in my mind right now. But
Keith Folk's got to be in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, he'd be probably, maybe he's, I don't even know. Is he like 3 or 4? And do you move Pedro down? I don't know. Like it's that's a good like mental exercise. I feel like I need to.
I feel like what Keith Folk did in the postseason was extraordinary.
Yeah, and I guess maybe just the consistent. I mean, like he was out there so often. You know, you're looking at the rotation, and while obviously you need those guys to be on their game when they pitch, they're not out there every single day, like kind of like how he was and how much he put in, and just really those multi-inning stints and just really like driving himself into the ground. So yeah, maybe he would be one. I'd really have to think about this. I'm not good on my feet when I'm thinking about making lists.
It's hard, but it's fun because there's still, you got Manny.
Yeah, obviously Manny.
Jason Varitek, right? Yeah, I mean, like
Damon.
Yeah,
there's a guy named Dave Roberts who's kind of important.
I know it's kind of how you value what obviously like the Dave Roberts, you know, steal is like, how much do you put value on like one specific play? Like obviously that changes like everything. So is he like the most valuable person from that off season? Yeah. Or do you put more value on Ortiz's hits or Folk's innings, or like I guess it depends on how you what you kind of weigh. And yeah, that's
not easy.
That's a good one. Yeah, it's definitely not easy.
We actually look back at the box scores of the 04, and Mike Timlin, especially early.
I was thinking of Timlin when I was like running through the other guys in the bullpen. Yeah, he was
every day. He was just brought out. It was just like unreal.
Yeah, he must have had like by the end of that year, I don't know how many innings he had, regular season and postseason, but it had to be like 80.
Yeah,
God, he was a horse.
Yeah. So I ended up getting COVID at the end of the year. So for like a week, I just watched all of 2004, and it's just amazing how many people that you forget that actually played for the team.
Yeah.
And like seeing Timlin, you know, hearing that name, it's just funny because back then, like I didn't pay attention to baseball that much back in 2004. I didn't start paying attention until about 2013. The very first game I ever went to was the day before the bombing. And it's just awesome. Like with the amount of like baseball that I watch now, well, nobody's watching baseball now, at least live baseball, MLB baseball. But like going from watching as much baseball as I did this past year, and then going back and watching like the 2004, I'm going into the 2007 season. It's just awesome to see all these other things that happened that you just you just forget about. Like, I completely forgot about Tillman.
Yeah. I mean, even like, Bill Miller that year, obviously.
Yep.
And like, Kevin Millar, obviously. Like, I feel like everybody everybody was such a role player. It feels like there weren't that many people that I feel like it'd be harder to rank the guys that didn't play a role that year.
Yeah, Derek Lowe was pretty good, right?
Malak.
Yep. Yeah, Lowe. Yeah. I mean, it's
Trot Nixon.
Yep.
I mean,
the OG dirt dog.
for sure. Jenna, I want to ask another question to you. It's changing completely decades altogether, but how I mean, oftentimes you hear managers are overrated. They don't really have an impact. From a fan's perspective, that looks completely ludicrous with Alex Cora, with the Red Sox. I mean, they're clearly a different team, different mindset. 2020, I don't even, just flush it out the window. But I mean, he brought such validity, such focus to the team. Do you view him as a guy who, he really didn't get any consideration for manager of the year? Do you feel that was a mistake, or like, as a fan, am I just too much of a homer for Alex Cora, or what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think he has a huge impact on the clubhouse and on the players themselves, and in getting some guys to kind of get more out of themselves. I think a big factor, obviously, in him not, getting as many votes or consideration for manager of the year was the suspension. I think outside of Boston, I think people still are very much still have a lot of hard feelings about that. And I mean, it's only been, a year or so removed. And no matter, we hear it on a pretty much daily basis, how, throughout the season, how he'll answer any question, or, he'll talk about it, and he's very open about it. But I still feel like on a national level, people don't see that as much, and are going to hold him against him for the rest of his career. So I think that's definitely something that played into that. He got a lot out of this team this year, for sure. But I also think you have to kind of look back to 19, and, he was manager in 19, and they kind of fell off a little bit after that 18 high. So, I mean, I think you gotta give him that too. And he's talked a lot about that this past year. He talked a lot about how he learned from 19 while he was suspended. He said he thought a lot about the 19 season, and how they definitely did kind of let their foot off the gas too early, and they didn't come in as hard as they should. And that, he I think mulled over a lot of different things that if he did get a second chance, he would do differently. And I think he came in this year and tried to put a lot of that into practice. At the same time, they almost didn't even make it into the playoffs. We kind of forget the end of the season there, where they were really scraping it out in that series against the Nationals. But yeah, no, I think by and large, he definitely gets a lot out of the guys, and just is, I think the way he relates to people and communicates is his biggest strength. And just, he's very big, like he's a big family guy. And I think a lot of times the pressure and the money and the expectations in this game, you kind of can get wrapped up in it. The players get wrapped up in it, and maybe, lose sight of everything else that's going on. And I think one of the things that I think makes him good at his job and makes him a good manager is that he doesn't really lose sight of the family stuff, the stuff that's going on in your life, like kind of outside of baseball. And maybe that makes the guys a little looser, or, feel like they can come to him, or feel like baseball's not life or death, because for a lot of people in Boston, it is life or death. And I think they have to kind of have a little bit of a more relaxed attitude in some senses. So yeah, I think for a lot of reasons, he's a good fit here and, it's pretty remarkable that they did bring him back, even after the suspension. I think that says a lot about what they think of him. And Chaim Bloom wasn't, 100% convinced initially. I think he was willing to listen to his superiors, that they really wanted to give him a chance. But I also think, Cora had to really kind of prove himself to Bloom to not embarrass Bloom or kind of, embarrass the franchise to make sure that something like that wasn't going to happen again. So, I do think you have to give him a lot of credit, but I also think you kind of have to look at kind of the whole picture too.
Is it true that there was some tension between Cora and Bloom? Like, I think it was like, go ahead.
I don't think any more than a normal relationship. I mean, there was tension between Cora and Dombrowski at times. I mean, I think in any sort of working relationship, you're going to have disagreements about how different things are done. And I think you can still get along with someone and disagree with what they're doing. At the end of the day, Cora has to deal with whoever Bloom's going to put on the field for him. And maybe he wished he had more in some senses, or had made different moves, or called up or not called up certain guys. But it's kind of the parameters you have to work within. And that's kind of on you to make sure you can, get the most out of what you have. So, I mean, yeah, there were probably tensions here and there, but I don't think, and again, this is probably, maybe we would have known a little bit more if we were in the clubhouse or a little bit closer. We really didn't get even down onto the field until June. And that was only kind of like standing outside on the, outside the dugout. So, I mean, you do kind of miss a lot of those interactions, those interpersonal connections, that being in the clubhouse and not having had that, it is a little bit harder to gauge how people interact and what conversations people have and who's talking to who and whatnot. So maybe there was more that we don't know about, but from what I could tell, there were definitely, I'm sure, disagreements at times, but I don't think it was anything that, that we greatly missed because, I don't think that was anything that was a huge piece of last year.
Yeah, WEI kept like harping on that, saying that there was some tension between him and Bloom. So, a couple more questions, and we'll let you go. So, Chris Sale, he had his Tommy John surgery. He came back. What are the expectations from him going forward in 2022?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that. I think a lot of people are kind of already writing him off, like, he's going to retire next year or something. I think there's still a lot left there. And knowing, Chris Sale and just kind of the fiery way that he presents himself and kind of the competitiveness and how he has not been happy, obviously, and for good reason with his performance the past couple of years. I think kind of like that chip on his shoulder is really going to drive him forward. And I think it did this past year, except he just had these, physical limitations. I think he was pushing himself as pretty much as far as he could. And while he was, and the results actually weren't awful. Of course they were at the very end there, but I think he kind of ran out of steam. So I don't know. I think kind of a normal off season for the first time in a while, will do him good and will have done him good. I mean, I guess we say that now. We haven't really, checked in with him, so we don't know, where he is in terms of what he's been doing this offseason. But, if everything's been going, as according to planned and he comes in healthy, I think he can kind of be back to you can expect to have a really good starter, at the top of your rotation. I don't think he's going to go out there and have like a 250 ERA, but like, I think, you can expect someone with like a 350 ERA, like, 175 to 200 strikeouts. I think that he can still put that up. And I know people are skeptical and don't believe in what he has to offer. But I think a lot of it was just sort of getting back on the mound and getting back that feel for, something they've done your whole life, but haven't been able to do for like a year or so, probably even more than that, just to his caliber even. So I think that played a lot into it. And it's such there are so many finesse movements on the mound, even though, he has the power and he's kind of coming back and figuring out how to work with his pitches differently. I think just relearning those very fine motor skills and kind of trying to place the ball in a really tight, square over the plate, it takes a while. And I think people wanted to see that him be like a Cy Young guy right away. I don't think that was realistic, but yeah, no, I think he can come back and be a good pitcher, and I think he's kind of got a, like I said, a chip on his shoulder to prove that. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and has a pretty good year.
So do you think it'll be Sale as the number one, or do you think Eovaldi will be number one?
I mean, I think at this point, Eovaldi probably has earned that, one spot just coming off of last year. But I mean, I don't even know if they look at it. I know that's kind of a thing that we always kind of talk
Right.
about, but I'm not even sure. I mean, I guess heading into the playoffs, you're looking at a 1-2 guy, but I mean, in the middle of the year, I'd be surprised if they didn't give Eovaldi the opening day start. Again, I guess a lot can change between now and then, but
Right.
I think coming off of last year, I could see Cora kind of likes to reward guys for what they've done, previously, and obviously Sales come through a lot, but I think Eovaldi kind of earned that. He's earned that basically. And Sale, I think Sale's going to be good, but I think he's still going to be working back towards that spot, I guess, if you will.
I got two more questions for you. Whitlock and Houck, where do you see them? Do you believe they'll be in the pen still, or do you believe they'll be on a starting rotation?
Yeah, we still, that's probably one of the bigger questions entering the season is what they're going to do with Whitlock. And, we've talked a lot about how stretching out Whitlock would make sense. And, obviously he's previously was a starter, and this past year was his first time in the bullpen. And, it would make sense just given how successful, he's been in those few multi-inning stints that he's had, or he had a lot of multi-inning stints, to see what else you can get out of him. I don't know that you want to bounce him back and forth, but I wouldn't be surprised if, they try to start stretching him out to see, if he can be as dominant as a starter as he can as a reliever. That said, they need bullpen help, and they need to add guys into the bullpen, not subtract them. So, you're having Matt Barnes come back, but what kind of Matt Barnes are you going to get? I think Barnes will be better than, what he was in the second half, or at least they better hope that, with the contract that he signed last summer. But, I don't think he's going to be as awful. And, but I also don't know that he's their bona fide closer. And I think they could use a guy, or at least another arm or two in the bullpen, especially if you're moving Whitlock, or trying to move Whitlock into the rotation. But at this point too, I think, Houck still kind of has that. Is he the long man kind of guy? Is Waka going to kind of like piggyback off him? Or are they going to try to give him some starts?
Totally forgot about him.
Right now you have, what is it? Sale, Eovaldi, Rich Hill, and then Nick Pivetta is your four guys. So who gets that fifth spot? Are you going to give Whitlock a shot, or are you going to give Houck a shot, or are you going to try to give them both, time in the rotation and in a few innings here and there? So that's definitely probably one of the bigger questions that we have heading into spring training.
Yeah, Jen, you had me chuckling there. I have a Matt Barnes phobia or hang up. We have
he hates Matt Barnes.
It's another.
I'm sure
another
Matt Barnes
story
is a
for
great dude, Brady. Why do you hate him
probably,
so much?
You know why.
He's a
but my question was going to lead into just to say, July 1st, who's the closer of the Boston Red Sox? Is he on the team currently, do you think? Is it a trade? There's not a whole lot left for free agent signings. There's some interesting guys who have some experience. Is it Houck? Is it Whitlock? Is it Hansel Robles? Please no.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I had to take a guess, I would say he's not on the team right now. But at the same time, the closer's role has been such a kind of weird spot over the past few years, where the Red Sox, even with Whitlock, it wasn't necessarily just a ninth inning shutdown thing. It was kind of like they were giving the ball to Whitlock for the most high leverage spot. When the middle of the order, the 3, 4, 5 guys were coming up, or the best hitters were coming up, that might've been in the 7th, and he'd pitch again in the 8th. And then one of their better arms, but still not, best arm would be in the 9th. So I mean, I think I could see them kind of continuing with that, but I think they also need a couple more guys that are going to lock things down a little bit more and make things a little bit more comfortable than maybe, Ryan Brazier and Matt Barnes. I think you want at least another couple guys to kind of, even just for health reasons, give depth to the bullpen. So yeah, I mean, that top high leverage guy, I don't know if he's on this team right now, and maybe that is through a trade before spring training or early in the season. I guess it all depends on when the season starts.
They're gonna bring back Junk Ball G.
Oh no.
I like your answer, Jen, because I agree. I don't think that person is said on the roster right now.
Yeah, and I think Barnes will bounce back, and be better, but I also don't know that he's going to be your number one option, and I think he'll be. I think he'll definitely still be important and pitch well, but I'm not sure that he's going to be the go-to guy. And I say that, and maybe he's totally revamped everything this winter, and he comes out and has a crazy first half. But
if it's up to Brady, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. It sounds
if it was up to Brady, he'd be traded.
Like, he was so absurdly good the first half of last year too.
Yeah,
he was like better than Aroldis Chapman. Like, it was insane.
And part of that though, I think I talked with Dave Bush in the playoffs when he didn't make the roster, and he basically said they just burned him out and used him too often in spots where they didn't necessarily need to. And that's something that they were going to reevaluate heading into this year. So I mean, maybe if they use Barnes more selectively, he can be more durable and be a better fit. But I think you need to have another couple arms there to just make it all work and make it more comfortable, I guess, if you will.
100%.
We could sit here and talk hours upon hours about Matt Barnes and the hatred that Brady has for him. But I actually lied. I have 2 last questions for you. One baseball related and one about another writer. So when the Jackie Bradley Jr. trade was announced, was that something that you saw coming?
No, yeah, that definitely. I was going to say out of left field, but I guess maybe out of right field. But yeah, that's another one of the questions that we have is what's Jackie's role? Is he going to be starting every day, or is he going to be more of a defensive, replacement late in games?
For that amount of money?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just as curious to see what they're going to do with him, as everybody else, and adding another outfielder if they're in on the Seiya Suzuki, sweepstakes as it seems like they are. Where do all these guys fit? So yeah, are they going to? Maybe they try to like trade Jackie. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they fit all these pieces in going forward. But yeah, what does it mean for Kike Hernandez? Does he move to second? Kind of all that.
It's actually kind of funny because Kike was saying, he was like, these kids down in the minors got to learn another position because center field's mine.
Yeah.
And then this happens, and then there's a possibility that he'll be at second base. And then you got to figure like what happens with Arroyo.
It'll be a bummer to see if he ends up getting moved. Such a heart and soul kind of guy.
Jen, do you think Jackie can close by any chance? Do you think?
Shut up.
Maybe that can be his role. Yeah. Maybe he'll learn a new position.
He's got a hell of an arm.
Great arm.
Yeah.
If it was anybody in the outfield, it's going to be Doogie.
Yeah, Verdugo. He's all on it. Trying to be a two-bay guy.
So the last question, and it's not a Dan Shaughnessy question. It's actually about Cotillo. Is he really into that ice cream machine as he keeps making it out to be?
I think so. I feel like I see him a lot, with the ice cream scoops in season. But yeah, I feel like he's a big fan of that ice cream machine in the media dining room.
So it's like, oh, no ice cream machine today. It's down. Oh, bummer.
Who knew that's the biggest perk of being a ball raider is getting your ice cream, except you're technically still supposed to be paying for it. So it's not like it's like we get free ice cream, but maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
All right, Jen. Do you guys have any other questions for Jen before we let her go?
No, thank you so much, Jenna. I'm good, but I appreciate everything.
Yep, absolute pleasure having you on. Can't wait to see what you write during the season, and hopefully the season starts soon.
It's got to be so boring trying to write right now.
Yeah, we're churning out some features, so hopefully that keeps people entertained. But yeah, it's been a little tough. So
Yeah, I see that the prices have kept dropping.
People need to subscribe to The Athletic. I hate
Absolutely.
I hate the stigma against like paying for sports writing, because like it's good sports writing. It's worth paying for. Like good reporting is worth paying for, and I hate the stigma against it.
well,
I
thanks.
just
I
saw
agree.
somebody the other day.
I agree.
You put up a
Good take.
you had some questions, a questionnaire for people to answer for you, and somebody was like, "Well, why don't you make it free?" And it's like, "Well, why don't you
Shut
pay
up.
for it? It's literally $4.
Yep.
It's $3.99."
That's definitely something we hear pretty often. But yeah, I'm glad that you guys subscribe. I appreciate it, and hopefully your listeners do too. So thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. Thanks for giving us the time
Thank
and
you.
answering our stupid questions.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
Yep, take it easy.
All right, gentlemen. So that was pretty awesome. Great to have Jen on. Hold on one second.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, great writer.
Yeah, I
You
didn't
know-
know if she was staying around or not. So
You
I
know
was
what'd be
like,
great
wait,
though
let me
is
figure out what's going on.
like, what if other people walked into like other forms of media and just said, "Why should I have to pay for a newspaper? Why should I have to pay for watching a movie?" Right? Like,
Well, I
Dude,
mean,
she's
like
so
I
much
don't pay
more-
for movies.
Her and a lot of the writers on The Athletic have like so much more strength like than I would in that situation, where it's like, why do I have to pay for this? I'm like, why don't you get a job and stop being broke?
You know, I think it was last year. I think it was in 2020. Actually, I purchased The Athletic because they had a sale going on. I think it was originally like $9.99 a month or whatever, and they brought it down to like $5.99 a month during the pandemic, and they were able to get. I mean, right now it's $4 Like, are you kidding me? Like, seriously,
It's good sports writing. Like if you're a fucking sports guy, like
and
a
it's
mega
not
sports
just
fan,
baseball; it's sports.
no, every sport, like anything you could think of, like there's just quality writing there.
Yeah, like I don't care about football. I don't care about basketball. I don't really care about hockey, and I really don't care all that much about soccer or football. But when it comes to baseball, man, I'll click on The Athletic and it's like sign in, and I sign in and I read, and it's just like, oh, okay, it's like my morning newspaper, like back in the like 70s, 80s, and 90s when people like sat down and open the newspaper and they're like reading. You got the dad sitting at the head of the table, and yeah, that's what The Athletic is for me.
you know what I'm not a big fan of?
Matt Barnes.
Yep, that checks out.
That checks out.
I was waiting for you to tell her the story on why you don't like Matt Barnes.
I just
Like I
she seems
really
so
wanted
nice.
to.
I don't think that I want to hear that the game after my father died, everything is going great, and Matt Barnes
loves it.
he just takes a shit right on it and just lets Jose Abreu hit one to fucking heaven, and he's just like, there you go. You've had a really bad
week
week
on Twitter. That's crazy.
You've had a bad week and a half. Fuck it, I'm just gonna make it a little bit worse. Thanks, Matt.
What'd you
Barnes.
say, Hogdale?
No, I just realized I wasn't following her on Twitter. Like Jen, I wasn't following her. I'm like, what the fuck? I follow her on The Athletic. I don't follow her on Twitter.
Oh, look
Damn, her
at you.
DMs are closed. Tragic. I get it
Yeah,
though.
her DMs are closed.
That makes sense.
Totally
though.
understandable.
It really is. Like honestly,
and
I don't blame
it's
her at all.
Yeah, it's stupid. Not the reason that she has it closed, but I mean, she was able to answer us through her email, and that was fun. And thanks, like again, Jen, if you end up listening to this, thanks so much for giving us your time. And
It's a great pleasure.
Hogdale didn't ask one fucking question. He was just
No. Yeah, I was happy.
Hungdale.
Yeah,
As
shut
Ed
the
would
fuck
say.
up. I was just happy to be here. It's just
Yeah,
a person it's good to have her on. It's a person I respect.
I'm not calling you Hungdale anymore. I'm just calling you Tripod.
Yes. I'm just very
Yeah,
happy
check
that
that.
Sapphire didn't open her fucking trap because she's sitting literally right next to me.
Oh man, too bad there's no speakers out there. I'd be like, Sapphire.
I suppose she couldn't hear you. She has really good hearing. So
Jen brought up a really good point. She didn't say it this way, but this is what I took from it. What the fuck
That
is
part
Jackie
sucks.
Bradley Jr.'s role in this team? Like, for real? Like, what
It's
the?
literally, it's very confusing. Like, is he going to play right field? If they have Seiya come, if they are in on the Suzuki sweepstakes, which I believe they are.
Mhm.
I mean, she said they are. She believes they are, but if he comes, I mean, did you notice we didn't ask a single thing about Schwarber?
I was
Oh
noticed
yeah,
there.
there's so much shit going on with this team right now. Like so many like unanswered questions. Like
Yeah.
what's gonna happen after the lockout ends?
Like,
Like,
do
why
you
is
think
Matt
that
Barnes still on the fucking roster?
It's not one of the questions.
that's definitely not one of the questions?
It's because he has a contract extension.
Yeah,
Way to go, Hein.
that's the one move that fucking Brady's like, no, I'm fucked up there.
That and Michael Waka are the two that I'm just gonna the hill I'm
Rich-
gonna fucking die on.
My eye
Which
will
she
boy
brought up,
being
I
slandered.
completely forgot that Waka was on the team. Honestly,
Yeah.
I forgot that we signed him.
It's horrible.
He'll be
whatever.
fine.
You know what makes up for that? Dick
What?
Mountain.
Mhm.
Yes, Dick Mountain.
Dick Mountain.
Love that man. Would
Love
give my
Dick
life
Mountain.
for him.
I wish they had more than one Dick Mountain. Like, I wish Dick Mountain had like 2 or 3 twin brothers equally talented, and we could just have 3/5 of the rotation just Dick Mountain.
Deuce Mountain.
Yeah, just fucking get ready for it, because like you're like, fuck, he screwed me up, and then the next day it's like, here comes another one. And just
Imagine having a righty who throws like Rich Hill, dude.
like,
seriously.
a lefty,
Oh,
righty.
yeah.
Yeah. Like how people compare Tanner Houck to Chris Sale, the righty version of Chris Sale.
Right.
It's like, no, that's not true. But I mean, he's got that nasty slider. That's why they compare him to it. Imagine if there was just a righty version of Hill who just throws like a fucking 40-mile-per-hour fucking curveball.
You know it's coming. You know it's coming.
You can't
You
fucking,
can't fucking hit it. Yeah, that's it.
Dude, that 2018 World Series, I was just like, how are we not fucking destroying this guy? And and then the fucking Dave Roberts decides to take him out, and then they get fucking hammered
Thank you, Dave Roberts, for the second time.
again.
Thanks. Yep.
Thanks. That checks out.
Yep. Sure does.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Who else did we forget? Fuck is on this fucking team? Because I completely forgot about Waka.
I mean,
She said Waka, and I was like, holy fuck, I forgot.
Oh yeah, he is a Red Sox.
I think of Waka, I think of Cardinals.
I do too. Yeah, because we shelled him in the 13 World Series.
Yep.
That checks out.
Iowa
sucks.
boy. Love that man.
He's like the Matt Barnes of starting pitching.
Oh my lord,
Not
fuck
at
off,
all.
dude. Who would you rather have, Waka or Richards?
Oh,
Richards.
Oh, fuck off, dude.
nah.
No.
No,
Out of the
Waka
10?
had some good years though.
I did too a long time ago. You know what I mean?
Whatever.
Like,
Back in 2003.
I was fire then, man. That was great.
Glory
When
days for Brady.
When Michael Waka was great, when I was great in the past, so was Waka. But it's been a while for both of us. You know what
in
I mean?
13, Waka was like a young gun for those Cardinals. Like he came out of nowhere.
Yeah, Joe Kelly was also a fucking young gun too for the
True.
Cardinals.
So is
Okay.
Alan Craig.
I wonder if Joe Kelly's gonna
You know,
sign with.
I always have a problem with his fucking name because he has 2 first names.
Oh yeah, 2 first
I
names.
fucking
It's a
hate
tough
that
scene.
shit.
The only man who's
Alan-
ever pulled off 2 first names well is Tom Brady. That's a true fact.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
No, I love that man.
Fuck that guy.
No,
Yeah, fuck that guy.
gonna win his 8th Super Bowl this year, and you'll all weep.
Really
He's
good,
gonna lose this weekend.
very good counterpoint that you guys are providing. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just recommending.
Oh yeah, engaging dialogue as always from the Pesky Report. You know, great
Fuck you. Fuck you,
It's-
Hunter.
counterpoint.
I don't
Fuck
say
you.
tripod. Fuck you, tripod.
It's not even. I don't even know like why that's a nickname. Like we're not even. I don't even have a normal tripod.
3-legger. Oh, you don't know what okay. He doesn't.
You know-
Oh,
get
I get it now.
right-
I just thought about it. I just thought
Yeah.
about it for half a second.
This is the evolution of Hungdale, right in front of us. All right. I'll say
First off,
like,
I never even heard Brad call me Hungdale one time. So
I
Ed
actually-
Ed and Brady had said it, and then Ed said it in the fucking chat.
so
He's
I
like,
missed this.
Hungdale
I'm-
returns.
I said it And then Ed liked it, and I forgot all about it. Then Ed brought it back. Now I'll never forget ever again.
Of course,
Because-
Ed
No,
came up with
it's
it. I
now
love
tripod.
him.
It's
him, man. Love that
definitely
man.
tripod from now on.
Is it true that you were not allowed to wear shorts when you were in school due to, like, just personal conduct policies?
I wasn't allowed to wear shorts because I was a fat fuck and my legs were ugly. That's why.
I guess I believe you, but still, the other way is much funnier. Much
Yeah.
funnier.
I like how you changed your name.
I did.
Yeah.
I didn't. That was you. God
Oh
damn
my
it.
God.
That's unbelievable. Just really impressive, boys. Mid-season form, really.
Sterling pod as always.
Yep.
At least Jen was entertaining. We had her to fall back
She was
on.
great. She was great.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
Love the fact that she came on, and I wanted to. It's kind of sad that we ended it talking about Cotillo, of all people.
The
Way to
armadillo.
go, Brad.
Love that man.
Yeah, you were talking about a fucking ice cream machine at the end of it. You're like, I got a hard pressing question to ask.
This is the one. Yeah.
I just wanted to know.
This
But
is what
this
Sox
guy-
Nation needs to know.
A fellow colleague of yours, she really liked that fucking ice cream machine. That's what you're like.
That's where I went to. I went to it.
Noted dairy drunkard Chris Cotillo. Are the rumors unfounded?
Yeah. I don't even feel like, that was a very, what a way to leave a lasting impression. Sometimes it's the first thing you say, but also sometimes the last thing you say.
I'm just
And if-
I'm not going to start off. I'm going to be like, all right,
You better hope
Cotillo.
the first thing is what she judges you on and not the fucking last
all
thing.
I know is
Well,
like
the first thing I said was I used to be a Yankee fan.
all I know
Used
is
to.
like I'm very proud of how I opened up the pod. I really think I made a
You
good first
fucking
impression.
said shit.
Yeah, I said like, why did you say that? That's what my mom says
It's true.
when she's dead inside, which is true. Why are you dead inside, Brad?
Yeah, you just told a dad joke without being a fucking dad, man. I mean, like,
Living the dream.
yep.
I am dead inside though. So I mean,
Like
I
if
said,
you
I've
said
been-
same day, different shit, you could have said that too.
So much more respectable.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's not the same day, different shit. It's been the same day, different shit since Thursday, pretty much.
My God.
Fire.
Second
Fire.
we finally
Yeah.
make an appearance.
I'm
Okay.
fucking. I don't know how people can be unemployed. I fucking would. No.
Did you get to, like, on the way out though, go up to like the coworker who you've always hated and walk up and just be like this, eat shit, and then walk out?
Nah. I was. I packed my stuff up and I walked out.
No
Should take
reason
a
to
state-
burn any bridges in the field because like
No,
one of those guys
I-
could be a
I-
manager somewhere else years from now.
No, it's not. It's not even that. And I'll talk to you guys about it afterwards. But it's I've burned bridges in the past, but I felt like this wasn't a bridge that I should have burned.
Did you take a
Makes
stapler?
sense.
No, I didn't take my.
I would have honestly, right hand to God, I would have taken a stapler and been like, you know what? This shit's coming with me.
I mean,
I would.
there's plenty of things I probably could have taken, but I didn't take anything.
You're a better
did.
man than me. You are much better because those
Yeah.
post-its would burn a hole in my pocket.
Oh no,
I love colored post-its. I don't give a fuck. Who knows?
I have like 10 of these,
See, okay, A
but
man
they
after
were in
own
my
heart.
desk. So
That checks out.
that does check out. All right, guys. So we are going to record on. Are we recording Monday?
Oh yeah, why not?
All right, and then we're going to talk about the 2004 World Series. We
Ooh.
also have our 100th episode coming up, and this is episode number 96. So we've got four more weeks basically, unless we do 2 episodes in 1 week. So I have some pre-recorded special guests coming on. I have one of our very first people to be on the podcast besides myself. I have I have a member of Locked On Podcast. No, we do not have Jeff Wax coming on. I've reached out to him, and unfortunately, he has us locked. So,
What a tragedy.
Jeff, if you are listening, which I'm not sure if you do,
I doubt it, but
reach out. You have my email. We can cross paths and get you on the podcast for a few moments, and you can talk about whatever when it comes to the Red Sox, because we didn't get to talk to you about the ending of the 2021 season. So, but yeah, pretty much I tried reaching out to a bunch of people that we've had on in the past. And I have one more person I'm trying to reach out to, and hopefully we can get them on.
And Brad, don't forget we're working on. We're not going to reveal anything. But
yes, we are working on getting a 2004 World Series champion on the podcast. Not going to say who, keep you in suspense and whatnot. But they have been contacted. And we have a legit ex-baseball player. This would be our first, and pretty excited about that. Honestly, like super excited. And I'll just give another hint. It's a World Series champion from 2004.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Can confirm. Yes, that's
All
true.
right, guys. Do you guys have anything else that you wanted to add in to the show?
Sapphire says hi.
Tripod, you good?
Hey, did you wanted to mention something about the NHL? You sent me a text message at like 11 o'clock last night.
Oh yeah. I'm really optimistic. The NHL just changed their COVID.
That was something you should have asked Jen.
I meant to. That now, if you are, was it asymptomatic when you have no symptoms? Right. If you're asymptomatic, they are going to discontinue testing for players that are coming to the rink and fully healthy, feeling good. Which, not that I'm a doctor in any way, shape, or form, but the amount of athletes that say I feel totally fine, but I just tested positive, hopefully that cuts down. I mean, and if it's unsafe to do that, then I hope they don't do that. And if it is okay to do that, then my God, let's please start doing it.
Frankly, at the end of the day, sports is a business, and they pretty much are just taking what the NFL did, which, in my opinion, is the smart thing to do. The they've been postponing a fuck ton of games, if you've been paying attention to them. Like, they postpone a ton. And at the end of the day, they want to play their full season, and they want to get to the playoffs and, award the Stanley Cup, so then by the time next year comes around, they'll have, like, a normal season. And, like, I'm not going to blame sports for doing that, Like, they want to play the games because they want to make money, because that's what the sports are for.
Let's go Rangers.
Go Leafs.
Oh, so we're playing tonight. Fantastic.
Oh, God, yeah, they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Go Whalers.
Hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. I'll agree with
Go
that.
Whalers, bro.
They play that at the Hartford Yard Goats.
You have the voice of something. I don't know.
I have the face of a radio broadcaster. And I have the voice of somebody who should be muted. That checks out.
Thank you for listening to the Pesky Report. Make sure to follow us on social media at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Pesky Report. No matter what platform you're listening to us on, please make sure to leave us a review and a comment and let us know how we're doing. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.